Hey guys, dlwalker at Holeshot. Well, I'm going to work on Rip Jr. here. I thought I'd do a little video on removing the gas tank, removing the ECU, and what I'm going to do to the air box as far as waking this thing up. We're going to de-restrict it. I have decided to go with my buddy Chris Moore on this one. I could make a tuner, but they don't have the injector plugs. I don't want to go through the whole hassle because I'm not sure how long I'm going to build tuners. So I'm going to work with Chris on this one, and it's going to be my own Holeshot tune by him. We'll start with a baseline setting. I'm going to give him all the info here at 4,500 feet, and then we'll go run the bike, and then probably put it on the dyno, and then probably I'll send it back one more time as just a little touch-up. So anyway, let's get into the disassembly, and it's pretty simple, and I thought I'd show that to you in case you want to do this. Okay guys, the very first step is to take off these two front covers here. There's one little bolt on each side. I believe it's a 4mm. I used a little ball Allen on a T-handle. It's got a little nylon washer under it, so don't lose those. So take both of those out and have a little container to put everything in. Okay, underneath the cover on each one, right here, I'll just get a little light on there. See the little hole right there? Okay, underneath is the normal push-in button. Where am I? I'm right here. Okay, so you push in on the center, push it up, get your fingernails in between the little hat, wiggle, pull it out. Then the cover is going to pull off. I believe there's two rubber grommets right under here. Let's get that off. Just carefully unhook it from the top, pull it straight out, wiggle it, and it'll pop out. Don't force it. So the cover's off. So yeah, you got two rubber grommets here, and you got a little one here, and that's a little hard plastic little gizmo that just kind of hooks in there. So you just wiggle and pull evenly. Make sure this hole here is pulled up off this lip here first. Get it undone. Get your fingers on the edge of each of the cover, wiggle, and pull straight out. When you put anything back together like this, I like to put a little dielectric grease on the rubber and a teeny bit on the tips of the little holders there. This one I wouldn't mess with at all, the purple one, but the one's going into the rubber. And then the dielectric grease stays on there. It makes it real nice. You'll never break the cover. So just take your time, be careful. Okay, the next step, we're going to take off the front gas tank cover here because the tank's going to have to tip forward to get to the hoses. So you're going to take out, I got it broke loose. Again, this is I believe a 4mm, yes, 4mm. If you have a little T, you can break it loose with this side, then use the ball end. So you're going to take this screw out on each side, and then there's another little button that I pop loose, and I think that's all it's going to take. Let's find out. One other thing I recommend is take pictures. Take pictures of the bolt, which bolts go where, which buttons go where, because they could be different. And you know, it's just a reference. When you go to put the thing back together, you know, it's simple. You might let it sit a while and you forget where the hell things go, and you figure it out, but it makes it so much easier. Just take some pictures. Okay, so I've got the bolts and the little buttons out, and sure enough, it just will slide right up and off the bike. So just set it in a safe place with your rest of your parts. Okay guys, the next step is to unbolt the tank, then prop it up probably with some blocks to get to the hoses. So here's your front mounting bolts on this bottom pivot. You can leave this rubber mount on here. And these look like this, a little button head, and these are 4mm Allen as far as the wrench size. Use the same T-handle. I was going to unbolt it here, but there's some nuts underneath that break loose, and they're going to be a pain for you. You don't want to lose them. So let's leave this whole assembly on, and let's unbolt it from the frame. That way you can just grab the whole thing, hold it like this. You're not going to lift the back of the gas tank up and accidentally hit it and chip your paint. So let's leave this as an assembly. These are 5mm Allen right here, 5mm. So break all these loose, This is what the bolt in front looks like. I already got one loose. Get those out, and then I'll show you the next step, what we got to do to prop it up. Okay guys, if you have a helper, it's good to maybe have somebody else hold the tank for you, but I'm usually working by myself, so I got to figure stuff out. So I lifted up the tank. I laid a rag on top of the velocity stacks of the airbox right there. You got to be very careful. This is your air intake pressure sensor. You don't want to break this thing off, so stay away from that. I'm going to tip the tank up so you don't want it to slide forward. So I have a little block of mini. This is about 2 inches wide, 10 inches long, 2x4. I cut on my table saw that I use for everything. On the back here, I'm probably going to use a 4x4. I already lifted up and put a rag under so you don't scratch the frame, which you probably went with wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the tank up. I'm going to shove this back in there. It's way beyond this, back in here about this area. And then we're going to put a 4x4 under here, and we'll see how that works out. Then you can get to all your hoses. There's a couple hoses, fuel pump, fuel gauge, probably in the back there's what we're dealing with. So let's see how this works out. Okay, that worked out really good. The block is very secure in there. It's not sliding around. Just kind of make sure these little grommets here are clear here. I had to lift up on here pretty good. There's one hose that's a little bit stretched, not bad, but then the 4x4 fits in here perfect. Just keep it off the plastic here and here. Got your rag in between her, and that thing is really stable. Awesome. So that's nice. You could do it by yourself. Okay, looking under here, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, there's your two lines you're going to take off the tank. They got to go back on the same way, so you might want to pull it off, put a little dot on one, a little red dot, and a red dot to the tank if they're not marked. Something, so you know one or the other. It's pretty much this one's on the right side, that one's on the left. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so you got to compress those little spring clamps and needle nose very gently, kind of get those off of there. Then you get the fuel line, main fuel line right here. You see that fitting right there? Okay, you compress it top and bottom. I'll show you when I get it off how you do that. And then you got the fuel pump power lead right here. See that? That's just a matter of compressing this little tab and pulling it straight off. See that? Right there. Okay, let me get the tank off. I'll show you more there. Okay, I got the right hand hose off already. Oh, the nipple right there, you see it? Okay, I used my long needle nose, laid the rag over them so you don't scratch the bottom of the tank right here. And I went up in there like this, got it right in between the little nipple and worked it, and then popped it off. But I had a rag right here in between the tank. There's the one there. Let's get to the other one. Oh, I forgot to mention I use these 90-degree angled long needle nose to get the spring clamps off. So swivel the spring clamps in the right position so you can get these on there, and you can wiggle and get those past the nipple down on the hose far enough. I have the other hose halfway off. I'm going to do the same thing from this side. Works fine. Get it up in there, rag between here and the tank so you don't hit the paint. And I already got it partial way off. It's going to come right off.
Go.
Okay guys, I got my Lisa doing the camera for me. So see this little tab right here? A lot of them you squeeze the tabs together. This isn't like that. This tab slides the whole clip down. Get in between there right here with a screwdriver, and it should just work it right to left, real easy. Pop, like that, okay? Put a towel down here, kind of double it up, because you're gonna get some dribble of fuel. Then you just wiggle and pull it right off. It's on an O-ring. And this will kind of drain just a little bit. Okay, now it's time to pull the tank off. Okay guys, that worked really slick. Here's the blocks of wood still on there, nothing even moved. Your little sensor here, no chance this didn't even move. Worked really nice. I would leave this rag here, just go ahead and get rid of the blocks for now, take this apart. So, let's go to the next step. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the ECU, because I'm going to send it off, and then we're going to remove the airbox lid, see what we're going to do to the airbox. Okay guys, so I believe what's going to happen is, like I mentioned, I think we're going to do a special Holeshot Performance tune for what I'm going to do to the airbox with the full system. And by the way, I'm going to use a D&A air filter. I don't have it yet, I have it on order. K&N just came out with one, but the filter looks very small, just like the stock filter. I'll show you when I get it apart. The D&A filter, geez, it looks like it has 25% more filter air. It comes clear up to the rim, where K&N still has a, geez, 2-inch or so above the filter, just plastic, wasting all that airflow you can get. So, costs double the money. K&N 60 bucks. D&A is about 130, but I think it's worth it. You only got to buy it once. Let's get the most out of it we can. So. Anyway, next I'm going to remove the ECU. These little clips right here, they have a little edge on them. So it's kind of hard for me to do it with one hand. See if I can get it started. Yeah, pull it out. The tabs are underneath. Flip it over. You're going to compress this one, compress this, and then there's two here you're going to compress, and the plugs are going to come off. So there's your ECU will be disconnected. I took the key out of the bike before I took the tank off in case when it tipped it hit it. It doesn't, but take the key out of the bike. I don't believe you need to unhook the battery or anything. I would just leave the key out so you don't turn the key on until this job is going all back together. So let's unplug the ECU, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to remove all the screws to the airbox lid, and then this little guy here will get out of the way. We'll take the lid off and look at the filter. Okay, if this is, you push this center one down right on this little bump, you can use a little screwdriver, but sometimes it kind of gets caught. I just did it a couple times. Push this forward, and then you can see it rock. Push it down then with your hand, and when you push on this, there, it gets beyond it, and this arm here, see, pushes it off. So that's it, but don't force it. Once you get it right, it does compress. See that? And then this takes over. Obviously, to get it back on there, we're probably going to have to do the same thing, but that's not today. So that's how you get the ECU off. Okay, the ECU is removed. Now you got to remove all the airbox top screws here. And by the way, this is an air, just temperature sensor, not the intake air pressure sensor. Okay. It's probably down inside the airbox, or there's a hose got to be coming to it. This is an electrical connector, and this is just a temp sensor. So anyway, for these, I use this right here, just a number 2, real long one. Put it on the slow mode and push down nice and straight, and keep some tension on them, because you can strip these. Heads are kind of, they're all like this. I don't know why they make them like this. Should have a nice brass insert with a regular screw in there, but that's how they are. So just do one at a time, put it on low so it's going slow. Hang on to the screw so you don't fall and drop down to the abyss. Put them all in your little tray. So then take the lid off. Let's do that. Okay guys, the airbox lid's off. Nice filter. Nice seal they got on here. Fits really nice. This airbox lid too fits really good, the little lip on there. So anyway, like I say, a K&N is about this size. The D&A looks like it's going to come up and be clear up in this, get a whole nother that much filter here. So it's worth buying the more expensive one. So let me go over to the airbox. I've been looking at it here, the airbox lid. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim these. These go all the way down in the bottom, so the air has to come in, get sucked in, and then go through the filter. So these have to be restricted, but man, it's got plenty of airflow on top. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. And see, they're not all exactly the same anyway, as far as the diameters. So there's a little casting mark right here. I wouldn't go up to this spot here, but I say follow this little mark, or maybe in between here, and get them as straight as you can, and then we're going to hand sand them and smooth them all out and deburr them and everything. All my tools, real tools, are gone right now up on my other property I'm working on, so I'll probably just take a hacksaw and I'll put a piece of good quality painter's tape along here, yellow or something, use it as a guide. Be good enough, just get it close, straight across. Don't have to be at an angle or anything, and get those cut off. Then what I'm going to do is add 2 additional holes. Been looking at this, and you got to stay, here's your filter, so we got to stay forward, right? Still, so it's filtered air, not back here. So I've been looking at this and trying to do this all by myself, like always. And let me see, yeah. On this side, we're going to do a 7/8 hole right here. Okay, 7/8. And see this little mark? That's your little lip with the groove. So I think it's best to do it on this side here. So what we'll do is come inboard and just eyeball that right there. It doesn't have to be exact, anywhere right in this area here. Okay? And we're going to come in just a smidgen with, get an air gap there. And it might go in and barely touch the little bottom of the intake snorkel right there. It won't hurt a damn thing. So we're going to do 7/8 on this side, just a little clearance like that. Going through this way, that way you know you got clearance, not going to damage the groove. And then over here on this side, we're going to do a 1 inch. Got plenty of room for a 1 inch just up in this area here. So let me work on all that, see if I can do it nice, and I will show you the finished product. Well, here it is in all its glory, cut off. You can't cut it perfect, cutting it by hand. Put it in a vise, put a block of wood under there, had a buddy hold the air box, and it was almost better using a fine blade handsaw for wood that's wider blade. You could keep it straighter that way. If you had a bandsaw, you could cut it right off. As long as you got a belt sander, you can kind of get it pretty straight. And then I block sanded it by hand. I'll show you here. And it's beautiful. It's nice and straight. And then I used a little deburring tool and deburred it. And then I used 220 sandpaper just by hand with my fingers and fingernails, and it's all clean and tidy. Here's your 7/8 hole on this side, and see how I cleared the edge so I didn't damage the lip there to seal the filter. And then there you want to kind of keep it about the 1 inch one on this end. See, kind of close to the bottom without, whoops, there we go, without getting into this here. So keep it just above that, because then inside you're safe too, see? So we'll get a 1 inch, 7/8 on this side, and then this baby's cut off to totally de-restrict those tubes all the way down, where it's got to come all the way in, suck it up, and then get to the filter. It's got to be restricting it. Let me pull the filter out. Really nice how this filter fits in here. So that's what a stock filter looks like. Okay, and the K&N, like I'm saying, is just this part. It's got this big wasted space here. So here's the air box empty. So see, those tubes would be coming way down in here. So it has to bring it up, suck it up through here and into the filter. So we got some pretty good additional holes going on there. Got all those cut off. Should breathe really good. So anyway, that's it for now until I get the ECU back from Chris Moore at Moore Mafia. And I will see you then.